Okay, now let's start the second part of our today presentation. It is cerebral function monitoring in neonatal intensive care units. And I back to Tatyana, who will describe us the theory of this technique or intended use of this technique. Please, Tatyana.
So now is part of our webinar is dedicated for amplitude integrated EEG or cerebral function monitoring. But I'd like to start with the idea that the long-term monitoring of continuous video monitoring is now a golden standard for diagnose the epilepsy, seizures, and to assessment functional activity of the brain. But sometimes the application of long-term monitoring is limited, especially if they are talking about intensive care units. So in intensive care unit, they have no time to perform a long-term monitoring. They have no time to interpret this result. They need to know about brain function right now at this moment. So, and sometimes we don't have the specialist who can interpret this EEG because it's rather complicated. So in this case, then the application of the long-term monitoring is limited. We can use alternative method is the monitoring of amplitude integrated EEG. So I'd like to say that amplitude integrated EEG is based on EEG recording, but during this test, we analyzed amplitude integrated trends. So continuous amplitude integrated EEG now is used in intensive care unit to evaluate the brain function of patients of different ages at risk of brain damage. Amplitude integrated test, amplitude integrated EEG monitoring is a screening method for seizures detections. These trends, amplitude integrated trends, there are different types of amplitude integrated trends, and the types of these trends are described in special atlases and so in different tips. So the specialist analyze these amplitude integrated trends, and he can compare the patient trends with these specific trends from the atlas or from our tips. We have special tips for amplitude integrated EEG monitoring, which is delivered with our system. So that's very important that after them analyzing amplitude integrated trend, the specialist can select their treatment to perform this treatment, to get some medicine, and he can assess the efficacy of this treatment. It's in majority cases, the amplitude integrated monitoring. For amplitude integrated monitoring, we can use several channels. It could be one channels monitoring or two channels monitoring. And of course, it's very easy, it's very fast to put on the patient several electrodes. And now we are very different montage, and for one channel recording, we recommended to use C3, C4 or P3, P4 duration with reference at FZ point, and of course with ground electron. And for two channel recording, we recommended use C3, C4, P3, P4 channels, and of course our system can create the duration C3, P3, C4, P4, so we can get more information about brain functions. Sometimes there is the tendency that some specialists use for amplitude integrated monitoring CAP. So we put on the patient all electrodes which we fix during the long-term monitoring. So it would be a multi-channel recording. During the test, we specialists can analyze amplitude integrated trends and to select some treatment and assess the efficacy of the treatment. But then this study is finished. They can transfer this study from the computer to computer of physiologists who can interpret this test as he do it during the continuous EEG monitoring video, how he do it during the long-term monitoring. So of course, in this case, we get a lot of information about the brain functions. Different electrodes can be used different electrodes can be used for amplitude integrated monitoring. It could be needle electrodes or cup electrodes or the hydrogel electrodes, and sometimes, as I said, we can recommend it to use the EEG cap. So very important, very good prepare the skin under the electrodes, and we recommend to prepare skin with the clean skin with saline solution. After that, it's important to prepare skin with the abrasive paste, and after moving the abrasive paste, we can put the electrode on the patient. If you use, of course, hydrogel electrode, or if you use cup electrodes. And I think that Alexey is going to show the electrodes and our strips, which can be used for identification of electrode points on the patient head. So, Alexey?
Thank you, Tatyana. First of all, I want to remind you that in delivery set we have like this instruction where you can find information about all electrode types which you can use for cerebral function monitoring. Also here you can find information about two typical montages here, and on the other side you can find information about all amplitude integrated EEG patterns according to international atlases of EEG, and also we have several examples of paroxysmal activity view on EEG patterns. It is a very useful paper for first time when you're starting to use cerebral function monitoring. As for electrodes, as Tatyana already said, we can use subdermal needle single-use electrodes. We can use multiple-use cap electrodes, or we can use hydrogel single-use electrodes like this. Now I'll show you how we need to put EEG electrodes on the patient according to all recommendations. In delivery set we have the special single-use strips or ruler, which we can use to very easy put electrodes. We have two types of rulers, the small one and the big one. The small one we should use for the patients with weight less than 1.5 kilo, and the big one with the patient which weight is more than 1.5 kilo. I will use the small one today. And to put all these three electrodes on the patient head, I need to find the CZ point on the head. To find it, I need to measure the distance between ision and nasion points. And in the middle of this point, it will be the CZ. Also, it will be in the middle between ear on this line. I can mark it with the special marker. This is the CZ. But actually, this point is not very necessary for us, because with help of this tool, we can easily find C3 and P3 points. For example, with this eagle tagus part, we need to put it near the ear tagus. And from the other side, we need to put it on CZ point. And moving this strip up and down, we need to find the position when the digit on the ear tragus is the same as the digit on the CZ. For me, for this patient, it is number 3. It is 3 here and 3 here. And when we find this position, we can check. We can set here C3 point, and here on this special blue marker, we can find P3 point, which is interesting for us to put the electrode. So we can put it here, and also we can measure it. We can use this strip to find the PZ electrode like this, and the same operations for right side of the head. So using this strip, we can easily put electrodes, and we can use like here only 3 electrodes. In this case, it will be ground, referent, and active electrode. This is a one-channel system, but we recommend to use additional ground electrode, which you can put on any part of the body, even on the head, also here. And with help of this electrode, we can record even 3 channels. This monopolar channel, this FZ will be a reference, active electrode. So we can record 1 monopolar derivation, 2 monopolar derivation, and 3rd bipolar derivation. So with additional ground electrode, we can record up to 3 EEG derivations. It is much more helpful for the doctor. Then we have the special patient unit with marking from both sides. It is marked the typical montages for cerebral function monitoring. For example, today we will work with CFM1, where we need to put 2 active electrodes, 1 reference electrode, and 1 ground electrode, according to our instruction. And another side of this patient unit is connected to the device. Where is the device? Device is located in this mobile trolley. Device is located inside this mobile trolley here. And this system is very convenient and comfortable to use in intensive care units. First of all, it is adjustable by height. You can set up height as you wish. It has a touchscreen display. For example, you can easily manage the software using only fingers, like this. You can select episodes, you can move traces, and so on. You can start recording, start impedance, and so on. Also, it has wheels with brakes for secure placing. Now it's not moving. Each wheel have the brakes. Also, this system has the video camera. The video allows the doctor to check if it was really paroxysmal activity of the brain, or it was, for example, some artifact, for example, feeding, manipulation with the baby, and so on. With help of the video, we can easily understand if it is a paroxysmal activity or if it is just some artifact. Now I'll show you how to work with the software to record and analyze cerebral function monitoring. Here we can see an example. In the bottom part, we can see native EEG traces. Here is 2 derivations recorded for this baby. And here we have 2 amplitude integrated EEG trends on the top side. And this is the density array spectrum, where we can see the frequency of the signal. This is also can be very helpful, for example, for quick navigation. For example, here we can see some high amplitude of all frequencies. But if we check here the native traces, we can see that this is just an artifact with P4, because on P3 it's quite a clear and good signal. maybe electrode was moved, or maybe its impedance is not good here. So what can we do with the amplitude integrated EEG trends? For example, here you can see the result of automatic interpretation, which the software can do. But also you can make a manual interpretation. For example, you can use these buttons to select a pattern of amplitude integrated EEG, for example, continuous normal voltage, continuous low voltage, continuous discontinuous voltage, and so on. The selected pattern is marked here with the specified color, or you can mark it directly on the trend with the specified color, like this. And it is very easy to understand which pattern you can see on the screen. And with one view on the screen, you can understand the brain status of the patient. You can understand the dynamic of treatment, for example, and so on. I will switch to automatic interpretation. Also, here we can see the window with event markers. For example, here we can set some comment. For example, I can put some manipulation. And I will understand that this activity is according not to clinical status or brain activity, but just to manipulation with the baby. Or for example, I can mark hypothermia. It is the treatment. This marker has not only the start position, but also the duration, about 1 hour, according to standards of hypothermia treatment. So putting this marker, I can mark the whole hour, and you can easily see it here on the trends. By the way, you can move trends with the finger or with the left mouse button. Here also you can see some high amplitude activity on the trends, and we can move here and also see that P4 signal is not very good. Here maybe electrode is not connected at all, because P3 has quite good quality. That is one of the reason which tell us that we need to use more than one channel. In case of one electrode is disposed or broken, we will have signals by another derivations. Using toolbar, it is very small toolbar here. We can move to next page, or we can move to next hour, like this. We can print native traces, or we can create a report. It's an empty report template. I need to select a report template, several function monitoring, and it will include my EEG trends, density spectral array, and some results of analysis. Here it is, our report generated automatically, but also here we can add some typical phrases from our glossary window, or we can add some traces, even with video, and we can put screenshots to the report. So I think that is all we wanted to show about cerebral function monitoring.